Hey there, y'all, and welcome to today's Daily Down and Dirty. My name is Fairlight. Welcome to Airy Fairy Tarot. All right, y'all, the message for today is when actions contradict beliefs. Honestly, this is such a complicated reading. I didn't know what to call it. But, you know, that's a good summary of a big part of it. So many fucking cards came out that I had to make a couple different rows. Over here to the side, we've got the Three of Wands reversed, and above that, we've got the Knight of Swords upright. We've actually got three of the Knights out, all but the Knight of Earth, and the Knight of Earth isn't usually moving. So there's movement here. There's a need for movement. And so it kind of feels like has maybe been some sort of cognitive dissonance. We'll get into that in a second. But I think there's finally like having to admit to yourself that whatever you're doing, it's not bringing you the results that it maybe used to bring. I think that's part of it, that maybe what you used to work for you, and now it's not working anymore. And it's hard to maybe let go of what maybe felt like your bread and butter, or, you know, or if it was a partner or whatever it is, belief systems, whatever. And so there's a need to take action and move in a new direction. So it's kind of like your mind maybe is calling you in one direction, but there's this like lamenting, like this hope that maybe it could still come in. But you know, it's like the more you notice that it's not working, the more you're going to notice it's just not working anymore. So we've got, in the middle of this bottom row, we've got Justice with the Nine of Swords. And like, how can you find balance when you're constantly in this state of, you know, trauma? This is my PTSD card, you know, but this is like constant worries, constant fears, constant reliving the trauma, losing sleep at night. This can be regretting the past, worrying about the future. Again, fears just constantly clouding your mind. But beyond the Eight of Swords into the Nine of Swords, where you lose sleep at night, and there's a lack of clarity. And so there's a need, and it's like you're trying to find balance between, next to this Nine of Swords, you've got Temperance reversed, and you've got the Six of Swords reversed. So again, this is kind of like that cognitive dissonance energy where your actions are contradicting your beliefs. And so like there's this belief, if I continue on doing what I'm doing, if I don't move, if I continue pouring myself into this thing, then I'll bring the balance that I need. But really you're just draining yourself, and something isn't changing, something's not alchemizing because of this constant, it's like reinforcing trauma and this belief. So this could be like staying in a toxic relationship, and it's like if I just keep proving myself, if I just keep showing how much I love them or whatever. But this could also be a job, this could be, or something, say you know, it's self-employment or something. Like if I just keep doing it, but it's just not working the way maybe it once did. And so it's like you're trying to find balance, but there's something about this reflection. And you know, it's interesting that this Justice card came out upright and not reversed. You know, this by itself, it would be like, I think this being upright is just saying, I think there's a need to recognize that you need to focus your balance. Both the Temperance card and the Justice card are cards of balance. But with this one being reversed and this one being upright, it's like, I think there's a need to look in the mirror, take an honest look at the situation, and there's a need to bring justice, whatever it is. Again, if you're feeling depleted because you're draining yourself into something and things just aren't changing, there's a need to recognize that. On the other side of the Justice card, we've got the Knight of Wands reversed and then the Knight of Cups upright. And so it feels like there's a lot of hope, but like you've kind of lost passion or something, you've lost energy for it. And so it's like the hope, again, it's like all of these energies, the way they're playing out. And I almost wonder, with this Justice card upright, are you being a little bit delusional and finding balance in the hope of it all? And maybe there is fulfillment from doing the thing, but somehow the actions aren't being taken. There's something about a lack of action, a lack of motivation, maybe a lack of courage, to assess what these energies are telling you, and there is a need to move on. So above that, we've got the Ten of Cups upright, and then the Page of Swords moving away from that Ten of Cups. And the Page of Swords is moving right in the direction of the Tower card and then the World card. And so again, it's like finding a new balance. Isn't it interesting that we've got these cards speaking about balance, one being reversed, one upright. And of course, we've got 4 major arcanas here: Justice, Temperance, the Tower, and the World. So you're at a pretty major destiny point right now. This isn't an easy reading because I always want to go to La La Land and say, follow your bliss, the universe will support you. And so it's really hard to look at this and say, maybe the universe is urging you to make changes right now, because I do believe that the universe supports us, but there's something, again, there's some sort of cognitive dissonance. What did work in the past isn't working now. And so I don't ever want to be one that says it's just time to give up on your dreams. Don't ever give up your soul's purpose. At the same time, the way you're going about it, if it's not working, again, whether this is love, whether this is pursuing your life purpose, whether this is a business, whether this, whatever it's about, balance. I could have called this balance, but I've already titled it, so whatever. There's a need for balance. I think that's the most important message in recognizing that the beliefs not aligning with your actions. And while we do want to keep the Justice card upright, I think the first and foremost, you need to pour back into yourself. You need to alchemize something. So if what you're doing is creating more stress than success, then what you're doing just isn't working. And so it's okay to change. It's okay to, do whatever it takes. Don't give up, but at the same time, make whatever necessary changes to keep you in this balance. And so here she is finding the mental balance, but she's crossing the bridge. She's crossing from this like old world to a new world, and it does bring about some sort of destruction to your life. It may be necessary to walk away from maybe a current relationship, maybe a current job, maybe a current whatever it is. It's like if say you've taken up a certain diet, because you have a belief in it. Sometimes we watch Danny Gonzalez and he likes to make fun of the Liver King. And so it's like, if you find that eating raw meat every day isn't really giving you the health benefits that you believed that it would, don't keep eating raw meat. Because you just have invested so much belief in that, if it's really just making you sick. It's that sort of thing. It's like you really have to look at the results right now and be willing to make maybe even drastic changes. And it does look like it's going to bring things down to such a degree that it really brings a great ending to certain things in your life. And while it may be scary, I really like that this Knight of Swords, these two knights together, Knight of Wands reversed, Knight of Cups upright. Again, we have all three. We have 3 of the 4 knights. The only one that isn't here is the Knight of Earth, the Knight of Pentacles, who often isn't moving anyway. So it does kind of feel like it's time to get moving. There's an action that needs to be taken. But it's interesting that it is more going towards the logic, the air energy, and not really energizing the passion right now, because there's a belief that this is still fulfilling, but it's not working. It's just not working, So taking action in a new direction, maybe allowing your thought, it's like almost like choosing mind over heart, which again, I have a cognitive dissonance about this reading because this doesn't really align with my beliefs, but maybe I need to look at my own beliefs too and balance that heart and mind kind of thing, to bring in, it looks like there is again a greater need for balance. Walking away, maybe this was fulfilling at one time, but it's just not working anymore. But it does look like crossing the bridge to find new balance, and being willing to embrace these changes and bring closure, bring endings. And so it's like, then we can turn these around where maybe you're out of the stress or the trauma or whatever, and you're willing to make moves, make changes to what you're doing. I do believe that it's going to bring greater balance to your life. So, you know, again, it's kind of a complicated reading. Takes a lot of like maybe sitting down with a notebook and listing the changes that you could make, list the realistic, you know, making a realistic assessment in your life and move forward accordingly. And sometimes the adjustments you make, it could be making temporary moves to bridge over to a greater leap into really embracing your full soul's purpose. Like, you never know what making small changes now, or even what feels like big changes. Again, you know, the Tower and the World card maybe aren't such small changes, but maybe making big changes can actually be what leads you to this greater fulfillment in the long term. So I don't know, not an easy reading today, but I'm not always here for easy. I'm just here for the message. All right. Once again, thank you so much for watching. My name is Fairlight. If you would like a palm tarot or astrology reading from me, and you happen to be in the downtown Asheville area, come on into Instant Karma. It's a one-stop hippie shop. We got all your cool hippie swag, so come on in. If you're not in Asheville, feel free to hit me up. And you can find me in whatever social media you see this on, and in the show notes or whatever in the bio. And anyway, my name is Fairlight. Peace and love until next time.